So my reason for getting out of bed this morning was to make this video, and it is and so it's probably going to be a really weird video because this is what I deal with regularly, because I deal with depression and because I deal with anxiety and other things, and they come on really fast sometimes and it's hard, but I'm doing it anyway. Hey y'all, it's Amy here on A Lolly Life, and today we are going to talk about meal planning and the best methods for meal planning. I deal with depression and some other medical issues, and sometimes they are just really, really bad. And there's no reason for it, and it's not like you can smile through it or anything like that. And this is definitely one of those moments, but I have this happen often enough that I can't, like, if I were to not record videos because of it, then I wouldn't get anything done, and I need to be able to do something. So today, my reason for getting out of bed was to make this video and not to cry, but dang it, I'm doing that. Okay. Meal planning is something that I actually, loathe. It is the hardest part of making dinner. Like, what is for dinner? I hate that. So I did a little bit of research into meal planning and found there were several people that had this tip out there. So I'm going to share this tip with you, and I'm going to tell you about how wonderfully it has worked for me. The first thing with meal planning is that your end result, or at least to me it seems like the end result should be that you would be able to go to the store once for that week and purchase the things that you would need to be able to make dinner all the rest of the days of that week. So since there are 7 days in the week, we need to come up with 7 different meal plans. I actually kind of like to come up with 8 so that there's some give and take. We will write down our 8 little meal plans. For the sake of this video, I'm actually doing my meal planning in a notebook, but I normally do it in my phone, and in my phone I actually have a go-to list. I have all of our favorite meals written down so that I can go to this and kind of, to get meal ideas. And if I make something for dinner and it goes over well and we like it, and I think, this is something I would make, maybe not every week, but maybe, once a month, or, or that kind of thing, then I would put it in this meal planning list. This is that fancy little idea that I've seen out there. And it wasn't just one person, or else I would credit them. It actually is just something that's out there. And truthfully, it just makes sense. And so it makes sense to me that there would be lots of people out there that are saying, this is a good idea. So I'm just gonna be one more of those people out there that are saying, this is a good idea and it works for me. This is the most important aspect of meal planning, because this allows you to use up the things that you already have, so that you're not wasting the food in your cupboard, because this is that's a real thing. Before we get started picking out our menu for the week, we need to think of a couple of different things. We need to look at the calendar. And so I have my little calendar up there on the wall. And yes, I know I'm old-fashioned because I have a paper calendar, but that's okay. And we look up at the calendar on the wall to see if there's anything going on this next week that might change what our meal plan would be. And there is, on March 14th. That's Pi Day, 3.1415. Yeah, okay, so Pi Day, March 14th. And so one of the meal plans that I need for this week would be something related to pies. And I already know that we are going to do pizza pie. And they're not going to be round shaped pies, but it's pizza pie, whatever. And so I already know that makes it easy. I can put one of my meals down as pizza. So we're going to do homemade pizza. Our calendar also has that my mom is going to be visiting one day this week. And so I would probably take that into account as I'm planning the meal. And I know that one of the things that she absolutely loves is she loves BLTs. She loves BLT sandwiches. And so because of that, I'm like, well, that's an easy one. I'm going to make BLTs one of the menu items this week. And then as I look at the calendar, something else that I take into account is that on Mondays, my son calls, video chat, and sometimes it's for an hour or two, and a lot of times it falls right during dinner prep or dinner time or that kind of thing. And so because of that, it makes it kind of difficult to make dinner on that night because I'm chatting with my son on the phone. And so one of the nights, at least one of the nights during the week, I need to make sure that the dinner plan for that particular night is something that doesn't require a lot of work, or that work can be done earlier in the day. And so I need a fast and easy dinner plan. And so I'm just gonna make a little note down here that I need a fast and easy on Monday. Fast and easy Monday. We have taken into account the calendar and any other things that might decide or help us choose what meal ideas are for this next week. And now, even with that, I still have 6 slots to fill, including one of them that needs to be a fast and easy meal plan. This is where the tip comes in. And the tip is we're gonna go visit the freezer, refrigerator, and pantry. Well, since we don't really have a pantry, we're gonna visit the cupboard. But that kind of thing. And I usually start with the freezer. And what I'm looking for in here is I'm looking for things that need to be used up. So, I have some beef that I could use in beef and noodles, and it's been in there for a couple of months already. Beef and noodles, that's an excellent idea. And the last time that I made hamburgers, I made more than what we needed, and I froze some of them, and so I have pre-made hamburgers, and so hamburgers is a good idea. And I have some sun-dried tomatoes that I haven't used up all the way, and so if I could find a recipe that calls for sun-dried tomatoes, that's something I could use up. I also have some salmon fillets, so there's some different ideas. In the refrigerator, let's see here. We have some tortillas, some like fresh and ready tortillas, ready to cook tortillas that we had purchased, and then something else came up and we didn't end up using them, and so tacos would be a fun idea, or quesadillas might be a fun idea. And actually, I have just a little bit of chicken that's been cooked and shredded with some salsa. And it actually makes really great quesadillas because if you put a little bit of that on each quesadilla and then cover it with some cheese, fabulous, yummy, yummy, tasty. Put a little dollop of sour cream as a side. So that's an excellent idea. In our crisper drawer, I have some green onions, some onion, and I know that this is cabbage. And so if I could find a recipe with cabbage, then I could help use that up. This is my tiny, tiny pantry. And so in here, I can see that something that's been in the cupboard for a little while is some of these canned tomatoes. And so if I could find a recipe that uses canned tomatoes, then I could kind of rotate those through. I also have some of the ingredients for like a white chili, like a chicken chili. That's another option. So let's go see what we can add to our list. I'm gonna put beef and noodles. That's a super easy recipe because the beef is just right there ready. And I know that I can make that recipe in probably 15-20 minutes tops. So that's an easy recipe. It could be a fast and easy Monday recipe, but I actually prefer my fast and easy Mondays to be like extra fast and easy. So that would be things like reruns, cold cereal, fend for yourself, or crock pot meal, or something that I truly like is completely ready at the end of the day. So let's see, we had beef and noodles, we also had hamburgers, we had salmon, we had the sun-dried tomatoes, and we had cabbage that we could use up, and we had some canned tomatoes that need to be used up. We also had tacos or quesadillas. We're gonna do quesadillas. And I can't spell quesadillas, but that's okay. And we're still looking for kind of a fast and easy Monday recipe or thing. And one of the things that I almost always include on my dinner thing is a reruns night. So that feels in a category. If you don't eat reruns, you should make sure that you are. Like some people use them up and they use them up for lunches or that kind of thing. And I generally use ours up for lunches, but I can't eat all of our reruns, and so probably once a week we have a reruns night and we serve reruns. My fast and easy Monday, I think I'm gonna do a crock pot meal this time, and so maybe if I could find a crock pot meal that uses some of those canned tomatoes, or maybe even I could put some of that cabbage in it, then that would fill up my list completely. The other thing that I oftentimes will add to my menu is that I have freezer meals. So if I make a meal that is possible for you to freeze an extra copy of it, then I toss it in the freezer. And so if I'm making lasagna, I make 3 of them. And I put 2 of them in the freezer. And if I'm making some other casserole or something else that I feel like I can freeze, then I make 2 or 3 of them. And I put some of them in the freezer. And so most weeks, I don't have to cook a lot of the days because I use a freezer meal. So we're gonna do a crock pot meal, and I need to look up a recipe. And so I just usually will go onto Pinterest and I just put in the couple of ingredients that I have that I would like to use up. Or I go to All Recipes or other, there's lots of different places, and you can just put in, like I said, just put in the ingredients. So I can put in canned tomatoes or, petite diced tomatoes and see what kind of recipes come up. Or, I could put in just, cabbage or both of them or whatever, and you can just see what kind of recipes come up. And that is how I choose what is going to be on our list for the week. And so now I have this list of things for the week. And I need to make my grocery list from my meal planning list. And so I need to check and see. With beef and noodles, I need the beef, but I already have that in the refrigerator. And I need to make sure that I have noodles and the sour cream, and I need to check and, so like the ingredients that are associated with that. And so I'm going to spend, probably it takes me less than 10 minutes, probably a little more than 5 minutes to go through each one of these recipes and make sure that I have the ingredients that I need for those recipes. So that's what I'm gonna do now. That took me about 10 minutes because it took me less than 5 minutes to kind of go through the cupboards and make sure that I had all the ingredients that I needed, or write the ingredients that I needed on a list. And then I spent a couple of minutes on Pinterest looking up a crock pot meal that used canned tomatoes, and it actually, I picked a goulash kind of thing, and so it actually uses up some of the fresh onion that I have left over from a recipe from last week. And so anyway, so it uses up a couple of different leftovers, things that I already have that probably need to be rotated. That is the key to meal planning. So now I have this shopping list, and obviously I will need to add milk and cereal and other things that you would use for breakfasts and lunches. But to me, breakfasts and lunches are a piece of cake compared to what's for dinner. Partly because in our house, breakfast and lunch, at least at this point in our lives, is you figure it out yourself. And even when my boys were younger, it was a little bit more planned. On this day of the week we do this, and on this day of the week we do that, just because it was easier, because I have a son who has autism, and having a set schedule is super helpful. That's like how you meal plan. That is the best way to meal plan. And I was shocked at how easy that idea was and how well it implemented. Like, I was like, why didn't I think of that? Like, truly, why didn't I think of that? It's not like some genius level idea to look in your cupboards in your refrigerator to help you come up with meal ideas so that you have your like 7 or 8 meal ideas for the week. Not genius, but obviously it is genius, and it works really well, and I've been super pleased with it. The other thing that some people do is they actually will write on their calendar each day what is on the menu. I personally do not like to do that. I like to have a list, and that's part of the reason why I like to have 7 or 8, because it allows for what sounds good today, and it allows for I'm not feeling it today, and you know, and just other things like that. And so mine is in a list, and then I have an alarm on my phone that goes off at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that alarm just says dinner plan or something like that. And so at that point, the thing that I'm supposed to get done is I am supposed to decide what is for dinner. So I will go into my phone and I will look at the list that I have put in my phone of what is for dinner, you know, the dinner list ideas that I have, that I've written down, that I've now shopped for, and I will pick one of them, and that's what's, you know, for dinner that night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. I could just, this is really hard sometimes because life is really hard sometimes, and to have a purpose, even if it is kind of a dumb purpose, is helpful for me. And so I'm glad that you're here, and dang it, I did not want to cry, but I just really feel like I just need to tell you how much I really appreciate you being here for me, and how much this YouTube thing means to me, and how much it is helping me. So, whew, no more crying. Yeah, so even people who I think are generally happy, which I would like to think of myself as a generally happy person, struggle a lot sometimes to be regular and be normal. Okay, I've calmed down enough. I can say goodbye now. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you're having a great day, and I'm going to finish out my grocery list and go shopping, because I need to do something. Anyway, I'll see you next time on A Lolly Life.